Dumelang, welcome to Face the Nation. My name is Clement Manyatela. Great to have you with us here on SABC News. On the show tonight, will the state of Israel release South Africans and other nationals abducted as part of the Global Sumud Flotilla 44-ship humanitarian convoy en route to Gaza? The former President Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandla Mandela, acclaimed authors Kwisa Vena and activist Reaaz Moola are amongst those detained. So we'll speak to one of the affected families, Zaheera Moola, the wife of Reaaz Moola. Also on the show, is the 147 million rand allocated to the Madlanga Commission sufficient for it to conclude its work? The former chief evidence leader, Advocate Motau, has said that this amount is simply not enough and led to his decision to resign. The Justice Minister has responded saying this is simply not true. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mmamoloko Kubayi, faces the nation tonight. And then later, did the Polokwane executive mayor and municipal manager benefit in any way in the awarding of tenders at that municipality? Well, the Hawks have searched and seized documents from the municipality. John Mpe is the executive mayor of Polokwane and joins us tonight. But first, my comment. So President Cyril Ramaphosa has called on the government of the State of Israel to release South Africans and other nationals that are abducted as part of the Israeli authorities' interception of that Global Sumud Flotilla. The flotilla comprises of humanitarian vessels seeking to deliver aid to Gaza. In his statement, the president says the interception in international waters off the coast of Gaza reinforces Israel's continued violation of international law and infliction of suffering, including starvation, on the Palestinian people. In fact, the former President Nelson Mandela's grandchild, Mandla Mandela, was also part of that flotilla. Reaaz Moola, who was also on board the flotilla, also released this video. All right, we'll come back to that clip of Reaaz, but the presidency in that statement earlier today confirmed that it's pending now information about the abduction of Zaheera Moola, Fatima Hendricks and Kerry Shelva. So that information is still pending. So let's listen to what Mr. Moola had to say about what's transpired.
Assalamu alaikum, greetings to you all. I am Reaaz Moola from South Africa. If you are watching this, I have been kidnapped by the Israeli occupation forces and taken against my will to Israel. I appeal to all friends, family and governments to assist in the release of myself as well as my comrades.
Now, the president says the interception of this flotilla is another grave offense by Israel of global solidarity and has called on Israel to immediately release the South Africans abducted in international waters and to release other nationals who have tried to reach Gaza with humanitarian aid. Here's the presidency spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya.
The interception of the Global Sumud Flotilla is another grave offense by Israel of global solidarity and sentiment that is aimed at relieving suffering in Gaza and advancing peace in the region. On behalf of the government and the nation, President Ramaphosa calls on Israel to immediately release the South Africans abducted in international waters and to release other nationals who have tried to reach Gaza with humanitarian aid.
And of course, there are many other countries that have released statements condemning the actions of Israel. The question we are asking you tonight is, what action do you think will be effective to pressure Israel authorities to release those detained on the seas? What action do you think can be taken given what Israel has done? They've since indicated on social media that the abducted activists are safely on their way to Israeli shores and then will be deported to Europe. What do you think should be done? You can send us a WhatsApp voice note right now on 078-459-1897. Remember to tell us your name and your surname and where you're sending the voice note from. And please keep it at 30 seconds. Alternatively, you can send us an X on @FaceTheNation SABC. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. So let's pick up on that story where President Cyril Ramaphosa has been calling on the government of the State of Israel to release South Africans and other nationals abducted as part of the Israeli authorities' interception of the Global Sumud Flotilla. That flotilla comprises of humanitarian vessels seeking to deliver aid to Gaza. Confirmed South Africans who are on board the flotilla include Nkosi Zwelivelile Mandela, the grandson of Nelson Mandela, Zukiswa Vena, and Reaaz Moola. The wife of Reaaz Moola joins us now via video link. Thank you so much for making time for us, Zaheera. Our thoughts are, of course, with you as the families and other families of these activists that were trying to deliver this aid to Gaza. Let's start perhaps with, when did you as a family come to realize that he had been abducted? Were you notified?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I greet you. Peace and blessings to you all. We actually first, the interception was being live streamed last night. All the boats had cameras on them, and there was a link that we could join to watch and on the boats. Early this morning, my sister-in-law, Reaaz's sister, gave me a call to say switch the TV on, and it was about 6 a.m. And we could see that Reaaz and his crew were being intercepted. The boat they were on was the Florida boat. You could see the Israeli soldiers board the boat, come on and ask them to please put their hands up, and then they were intercepted. During the interception, the Israeli soldiers removed the cameras, so we could not see further what was going on. And by then, the South African support team had also messaged us to let us know that the Florida was being currently intercepted.
My goodness. So you must have been worried then as loved ones when you, during that live feed, you started seeing the Israeli soldiers now come in and basically just switch off the cameras.
It was quite a shock to us. We were quite anxious. We were very nervous. We didn't know what to expect at that moment. But also, from the beginning of this flotilla and the movement, we were made aware that being intercepted was a possibility, where the members on the boat would be transported to land, as what had previously occurred with the previous flotilla with the Madlanga. Reaaz and all the delegates had undergone training in Tunisia as one of the possibilities of being intercepted and what to expect thereafter. They did inform the family that it is very possible, and we should be prepared for all instances that could occur.
What kind of training did they undergo? What did they prepare themselves for? And of course, I mean, the situation in Gaza is quite, the tensions are really high there, and going into this kind of voyage requires just a lot of preparation. How did they prepare themselves just during that training in Tunisia, and also just mentally to face whatever that may come?
So the training that they had was very intense. It was very, it was really, really helpful to them. The aim was never to get off the boats in Gaza. The main aim of this flotilla was to deliver the aid at the coast of Gaza and to turn their boat around and come back, or to get back, to try and return home as fast as possible. It was never about entering Israeli waters or the coast of Gaza, or to break international laws. The training that they underwent was firstly about life on a boat, just to survive the few days that they were meant to be sailing. After that, it was training for when you get to the coast of Gaza, how to deliver the aid. And then obviously in the event of interception, what to expect on the boat, what to expect when you are taken off the boat and you're transported to land, when you are taken to the holding centers, and procedures and the protocols that will follow after that.
Yeah.
There were also psychologists that were present in Tunisia to speak to the delegates and to prepare them mentally and to answer any questions they might have had regarding the interception especially.
Yeah. When was the last time you had contact with your husband? Were you also able to frequently communicate with him during this trip?
Yes, we were able to communicate every day. He would send us videos and updates of their progress on the sea and how they were feeling. Yesterday, the 1st of October at about 6 p.m., he called me to say that they had received news that there were a number of Israeli naval ships that were heading in the direction of the flotilla. Mm-hmm. So interception was very possible going to occur last night. At about just after 8 p.m. last night, he called me again to say that there's a naval ship that is very close to them. Mm-hmm. It was in the process of intercepting a boat just in front of them. And he said to me that they are very possibly going to be the next boat to be intercepted. And our call then cut because our communications were jammed and we were not able to contact him or speak to him after that.
Yeah.
And no idea what was going on until about 6 a.m. this morning when we saw the line interception taking place.
Yeah. What did this cause mean for him to decide to embark on this journey for this Palestinian cause? How important was this for him particularly?
Reaaz has always been a humanitarian. He's very passionate about helping the underprivileged and the oppressed. His entire life has been that. He's been on many humanitarian missions, a lot locally, and he's done a few international as well. He's very involved in the upliftment of our local community, assisting people when they need it, in disaster management. So it's part of our lives to help people where we are able to help. When he heard about this flotilla and having watched what's going on in Gaza and Palestine for the last 2 years, I mean, this genocide's been live streamed on all our screens. So it was a point where he reached in his life was, I have to do something. I cannot just sit back and continue watching what is going on. Mm. So when we found out about this flotilla and we started seeing what was going on, we did a little bit of research and we found out what was the aim behind it, and he decided to apply and see what would happen. And he was selected to become a delegate, and after that it was all systems go. Coming also from having grown up in South Africa under apartheid, we could not sit any longer and watch other people in the world live under those circumstances. Yeah. It's time for us as humans, if our governments are not doing enough, it's time for us to do things to make a difference and to help those who are oppressed and relieve the injustices of the people. Even if it's doing what we can to get food. I mean, basic food and medicines was all that they were carrying on the boats. Yeah. So the people who are starving.
Sure. I mean, these are people who were only trying to contribute their bit in that humanitarian crisis we've seen unfold in Gaza. What are you hoping government can do now, Zaheera, and even the international community? I know that one of the ministers in Israel tweeted that these abducted activists are on the way to Israeli shores and then they're going to be deported to Europe. That's my understanding. What is your hope on what our government can do, but also just broadly the international community?
Well, this flotilla, thankfully, has brought a lot of awareness about the situation in Palestine and the situation in Gaza. For governments, it's time for them to act, to take actions, to impose sanctions, for governments to send aid, to force the borders to be open so that people can receive food, clean water, medication, babies can receive nappies and baby formula. The people of the world are standing up and rising and now protesting and drawing attention to this cause. And if you see the countries in Europe, the people of those countries are bringing the countries to a standstill by striking and protesting to ensure that their governments start acting. And I think for our government as well, one of the main things that we have to work on in South Africa for our government is to stop supplying coal to Israel. South Africa has taken Israel to the ICC and the ICJ, but on the other hand, we are supplying coal to them, which is fueling the genocide. We have to boycott, we have to divest, we have to apply sanctions, and in that way assist those who need the assistance.
Do you think that there comes a point where hope starts fading when you see even the condemnation from the multilateral organizations like the United Nations or even other countries who are condemning what Israel is doing in Gaza, and nothing really seems to move them? I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, was so emboldened even during his address at the United Nations conference. And one wonders whether anything will ever be enough to force Israel to really sit down and have a conversation, one, even about, the two-state solution that's being proposed or spoken about, but also two, about having a conversation about that ceasefire so that you allow the hostages to be released, you allow the prisoners to be released as well. What do you think can actually happen to force Israel? Because so much has happened, resolutions from the United Nations, and they've simply ignored that.
Well, if you look around, the tide is turning. If you look at the Netanyahu speech at the United Nations, majority of the country's delegates walked out. So people are now taking a stand. And it's coming up from the people at grassroots level who are putting pressure on their governments to start acting. And there's always hope. There will always be hope. I will always have. As a family, we will always have hope. And we will always work for change. As long as people are oppressed, we will do what we can to assist them in any small way possible. And as Reaaz was telling us, his faith in humanity has been restored by the number of people that were eager to join this flotilla. There were 26,000 applicants from around the world, and yet approximately 500, they had space for only 500 delegates to join this flotilla.
Yeah.
And the amount of awareness that has been created by those following this flotilla, I think there will be further flotillas that will continue attempting to break the siege and to open a humanitarian corridor to Gaza to deliver the aid where it is most needed.
Well, Zaheera Moola, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time and really hoping that all of the activists that have been abducted, as Israel has indicated, they said they are safe on the way to Israeli shores. We really hope that they are really safe and they are going to be released safely. Let's hope more pressure comes from the international community and it can start moving Israel in some way. Thank you for making time for us. A reminder of the question we've been asking you tonight is, what action do you think will be effective to pressure Israeli authorities to release those that are detained during this flotilla? Let's take a listen to some of the WhatsApp voice notes that have come through.
Hi, Clement. This is the time where each and every South African, each and every African worth their salt in South Africa, all around the world, have to stand up, go to the Israeli embassy, and then let them feel us. We have to go demonstrate all around the world. We have to be heard. We can't sit and let these guys, these criminals dominate the world. We know this has been happening since 1948. We have to stand up and be heard. I want to mobilize the whole world to stand up and be counted.
Hi, Clement. My name is Steve Lowe. I'm from Randfontein, West Rand. I think the only effective pressure is if interventions are done through Donald Trump. The simple thing of our president to release an immediate statement to say people must be released immediately is not going to work. Netanyahu doesn't listen to anyone except Donald Trump. So if anyone wants to get through to him, and his understanding should be through Donald Trump. That's the only way.
Welcome back. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mmamoloko Kubayi, has slammed the recent comments by Advocate Motau, the former chief evidence leader at the Madlanga Commission. In media interviews, Advocate Motau clarified that his decision to resign from the commission was mainly over budget concerns, citing that the 147 million rand allocated by the Department of Justice was simply not enough for the work of the commission. Motau resigned last month and has been replaced by Advocate Matthew Chuckleson. Mmamoloko Kubayi is the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development and joins us now via video link. Minister, thank you so much for making time for us. Good evening.
Good evening, Clement, and good evening to your viewers at home.
So it looks like the crux of the matter here, based on what Advocate Motau has said through media interviews, is this issue of the budget of 147 million rand allocated by your department. It looks like that's what's influenced his decision to resign from the commission. Some of the interviews he said that money was simply not enough.
Yeah, we actually shocked. I was shocked to learn of this. You'd know that when the announcement that he's leaving came through, we didn't react as the department because we didn't feel that it was our space. But the minute he started impugning on our integrity, our image as professionals in the department, we needed to respond. The first issue here is that Advocate Motau, in his role as evidence leader, he has nothing to do with budget. There's a staff of the commission that works in the budget, in terms of the budget. The budget breakdown was shared with the commission in terms of their requirements, even what we are going to require. All the issues and the requests of the commission have been met. Legal teams were engaged through the state attorneys. Before they can receive their brief, they would say, this is the amount they are willing to accept to participate in the commission. And all those have been done. At no point should we be talking about a budget that is insufficient, because you'd have to ask on what basis, what is lacking that they are saying the budget is insufficient from what Advocate Motau has been saying. And that's what concerns us. And that's why I believe that there's more to it, and therefore would appreciate if Advocate Motau can take the nation into confidence, the real reason why he has left the commission, because surely the budget can't be the reason, because he has no responsibility and he has no role in the budget. His work is to get the evidence leaders to do the work and get the people to be able to be testifying. That's his responsibility. Mm-hmm. The budget has nothing to do with him. And we shared what is the breakdown, what informed the amount, and where is it going. And this we're sharing for the second time today in the statement, because when these questions came as the time that they were postponing the commission, we outlined the amounts, we outlined the areas. Now to hear that he's asking about line budgets, there isn't anything that is outstanding that relates to legal services. Mm-hmm. Those have been contracted correctly, and including himself.
So to be clear, because your statement that you sent out, you gave us really a breakdown of the allocation of that, bigger budget that was, allocated by your department. So you said that for compensation of employees, about just over 10 million rand was allocated for that. So this was what? Was this for the commissioners, including Advocate Motau? This is something that was finalized before even the commission started, so there wouldn't be issues about whether or not there would be people that would be paid or not at the end.
No, there's no issue about people not being paid or not. In terms of legal fees, for example, they will receive normally like anyone else. When you contract as a state, contracting legal practitioners, we do that through the state attorneys. They will send them a brief that shows that they've been contracted. This is a service provider in terms of legal services. And then for the staff of the commission, we've given them 6 months contracts. This is additional to the establishment in terms of public service and administration. So those are the legal framework that exists for us to be able to contract in terms of legal services and in terms of staff. So Advocate Motau is a service provider for the commission. That's why I'm shocked when he talks about him being involved in the budget. And I'm asking myself whether he understands the legal framework that operates within this in terms of how he has been contracted. You can't be contracted as a service provider and then you want to be regarded as a departmental official. That's why the secretary to the commission is an employee of the department in terms of contract, which is within public service and administration, which we call additional to the establishment in terms of contract.
Okay, so who normally would be responsible for, budget matters in a commission like this? Because part of what he said was that some of the things that concerned him was that there was no underlying plan of how the inquiry's 147 million rand budget would be allocated to its specific functions, which included the evidence leaders, the investigators, attorneys, media, the secretary, IT, commissioners, you name it. And he has also indicated that these are the issues that he had already raised before the commission started. Did this come to you at some point that there are budget issues even before the commission started, or are you finding out from it about it now?
I'm shocked actually, because we shared voluntarily with the commission the breakdown. Even before I made application to the Treasury, that information was shared in terms of costs, with what estimates, where we are trying to cut if there's concerns. The public raised concerns about utilization of buildings that are privately owned. We shared in terms of what would be coming out of the commission working, the repurpose. So all that information is at the exposure of the commission.
Okay. Why wasn't it communicated though, Minister? And I mean, obviously you may not have been aware, but based on what Advocate Motau has said, he actually resigned on the 11th of September. That's when he indicated that he wants to leave. But he says that the commission decided that they don't want to speak on it at the time. And now it's appearing as though, I mean, the way this thing has been communicated was not well thought of, because here's someone who's coming out and confirming, even before the commission confirms, that actually he is leaving and even gives his reasons publicly. Were you informed, even before the commission started, that this man, was preparing to leave, didn't want to continue?
No, I wasn't. And they didn't need to inform me. The issue, and I want to go back, Clement, when you say I didn't, check in terms of publications, I shared the amount, I shared the breakdown already around July. All this information was communicated publicly in July. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember which journalist ran with it. They sent us questions, we broke down this, and we sent it out. Parliament asked me parliamentary questions. I've done the breakdown. I've sent to Parliament. I think the parliamentary question was in August. So it can't be that he's shocked now, because I'm asking myself, where has he been? To come and blame us now? Because the information, not only has it been shared with the commission, it has been shared publicly. It has been shared with Parliament. So that's the issue. The issue of him leaving, as I said when I started, the commission does not have to inform us, but they would have to terminate with the state attorneys. So I will get to know at the point of termination with the state attorneys, where the acting solicitor general will notify me that Advocate Motau has withdrawn his brief and therefore cancelled. We'll calculate if there's areas that we owe him for the work that he has done, and then we pay, and that's it. But in terms of the explanation, I believed, and I still believe, it remained within the commission to handle, between himself and the commission. I only entered Clement because he is casting aspersion on my work as the minister and the work of the department. We have professionals who are worried about the work. When this came out, the team in the department said to me, but Minister, this man is dealing with he talks about his credibility, but he forgets that we also are professionals. We are lawyers, we are accountants, we are professionals who have integrity. It's good for us to be blamed when we have done something, to be held accountable. But let's not be blamed for something that we have not done.
Okay, so
unreasonable.
So to be clear then, Minister, you are saying there are no concerns at all that the Commission's budget will somehow balloon and not be sufficient at this stage, but equally so, there are no concerns, that there perhaps may be an over budget, or there may be more money that is required for this Commission to continue with its work at this stage.
At this stage, there isn't such. And if we do need to deal with it, we have mechanisms within public finance management, within the regulations, within all the relevant statutes to deal with that. and that does not involve a lead investigator nor investigators in the commission.
Okay. And let me just ask broadly about the work of the commission so far. How are you, I mean, as the Justice Department, I'm sure you've been watching what's going on. You've seen some of the delays, some of the people who get sick. For instance, but General Khumalo. Has there been any conversation yet about the possibility to extend or the work of this commission? Or are we still working within that timeline that was initially suggested by the president?
I haven't received any formal request from the commission to engage the president for the extension. So we're currently working within the framework, and I wouldn't want to comment on its work. Safe to say we support their work and we support their continued doing what they're expected to do.
And just lastly, just so that's what they are doing now. And when you look at the whistleblowers, though, because the last time I spoke to you, you were trying to work with the commission to try and find ways to protect, especially people who are coming there and they're revealing some sensitive information that may upset people out there who are possibly being investigated. Has that work been concluded, and what assurance is there that the people that are providing this valuable information at the commission are being protected sufficiently?
I'm not supposed to know who are the witnesses. I'm not supposed to even know how they are protected, Clement, because that alone will compromise the work of the commission. So we've left to the commission. Should there be any concerns, they will raise it with us. So far, I have not received any complaint.
Okay, Mmamoloko Kubayi, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for making time for us. That's the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development. Clearly quite unhappy with what Advocate Motau has had to say, raising the issues that he's raised around the budget processes and whether the money will be enough and whether it's a free-for-all at the Madlanga Commission. Stay with us here on Face the Nation. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. The Hawks have searched and seized documents from the Polokwane municipality in Limpopo. They said this is part of a criminal investigation into an alleged corruption scandal involving municipal principals and officials. There are allegations by some concerned residents and political parties, and they've pointed fingers at the executive mayor, they've pointed fingers at the municipal manager as well. The duo allegedly benefited from millions of rands in the awarding of tenders at the municipality. John Mbe is the executive mayor of Polokwane and joins us now in studio. Mayor Mbe, thank you so much for making time for us. Good evening.
Good evening, Clement. Good evening to the viewers at home. Thank you very much for having us.
Let's start with clarifying what the Hawks were doing at your offices that week, because I saw in your statement that was released, you said that there was no raid at the municipality by the Hawks, but the statement that they had released seems to suggest that they conducted an operation and seized some documents.
Not at all. The Hawks visited our office. They met with the accounting officer. Fortunately, we had our public hearing on that day for MPEC. We met with them. They demanded certain documents, which the copies were provided. Eventually, they also wanted the originals, which were given to them. Those documents related to gift register, gift policy, as well as the declaration of interests,
okay.
which are normally kept or something that is administered by the council support.
So those are specific documents that they requested when they came through?
Those are specific documents. So
what exactly are they investigating against the municipality? Because again, the statement I read from your municipality said the documents are not related to any multi-million rand tender.
Well, if they are related to tenders, we will also expect that tender documents would have been seized or whatever. But we have always said that we are always ready to cooperate with law enforcement agencies. And in this case, that's what we did. Should they need any information, or whatever the agency is lawfully seeking certain documents from the municipality, we will provide. There is no multi-million tender documents that was requested from us. Like I said, if there is anything that is needed, we are always willing. As a municipality, we have always seek to improve our finances. As you know, we have improved our audit outcome over the years, which were not so good, to at least unqualified audit opinion. And that we have done because we wanted to make sure that at the end of the day, there is accountability in what we do.
So when they were asking for these documents, they didn't indicate to you why they're asking for them? They just came and asked for documents?
Look, our understanding is that probably there is an inquiry because once you first do the inquiry, then once you are satisfied, you can then go to a level of intensive investigations, which I believe that that process, they are the only ones that can actually give you more details about. But from our side, we are always available and ready to be held accountable for the work that we're doing. But so far, we've seen a lot of improvement in Polokwane in terms of how we handle our finances and how we stabilized our finances. We have improved in terms of service delivery, but most importantly, we have also seen that in 2021, we have improved since 2021 from revenue collection from 1.6 billion per annum to 2.5 billion per annum. And that has somehow helped us to stabilize the finances and improve our ability to deliver quality services to our residents.
Yes, and I want us to talk more about those improvements in a moment. We did contact the Hawks to figure out what exactly they were looking for, and they said the documents that they requested was to support a criminal investigation into alleged corruption, a corruption scandal involving municipal principals and officials. That's what they said, and in fact, that's a statement that they also released publicly. Were you not aware of that?
Well, from time to time, there will be investigations in a sector where we are. Even ourselves, we have open cases.
What cases have you opened?
We have open cases with regard to the material irregularities that has been flagged by the AG, for example, on the issue of buses that were paid for during the initial stage of our BRT, but of which they were never delivered. But as you know, from each and every audit season, if there is any material irregularity, now the law compels us as well to investigate first. Upon investigation, submit such a report with the view to open a case, for further investigation, probably even to recover the money that we would have lost.
Please just remind our viewers what happened with the issue of buses. So is this an instance where money was paid to purchase buses, but those buses were not delivered?
Yes. In delivering the buses, there are quite a number of buses that were delivered, but there were outstanding buses that have not been delivered to the value of about 16 million rand, which we opened a case with the Hawks. So from time to time, if you've got a complaint about the mayor, you go to the Hawks, they will open a file, which is called the inquiry, and they will investigate. Whether it's against any official, they will investigate. Even ourselves, we are obliged to do so, to communicate from time to time with law enforcement agencies. I
mean, 16 million rand is a lot of money.
A lot of
Paying for buses that are not delivered is quite wild. What happened to, who was responsible for that process? Are they still employed? Because there are two separate processes here. You can go to the police and get them to investigate, but you have a responsibility as the head of the administration of the municipality to make sure people who are involved in this transaction are held accountable. So how have you held them accountable?
There were consequence management processes. There are quite a number of officials, as you are aware, and directors who left the municipality when we started this process of investigation. And now, as you know, Those who are internal will be disciplined. There are a number of people who have been fired from the municipality because of wrongdoing.
But I'm talking about specifically the
specifically
bus
for the issue of the buses.
Are the people that have been fired?
Yeah, there are people who have been charged, including the then director who resigned. But like what we're doing now is to say, if you resign, it's not the end. We will then approach law enforcement agencies for further investigation, because you are no longer within our employ, but you are not above the law at the end of the day. So that's what we are doing with some of the cases. We've got a number of investigations that we have instituted where, for example, overtime, where people were claiming overtime for work not done. And for that, we have also taken action against. So quite a number of issues.
Are there other people, though, that are still in the system at the municipality who were involved in this transaction, the buses, who are still working for the municipality right now?
Those who have been flagged, all of them have left.
Okay.
By our investigations.
Where was the municipal manager here when this transaction took place?
Obviously, this is a new municipal manager that we employed afterwards.
Okay. What processes have you put in place to try and avoid a scenario like that happening again?
Well, as you know, we have also employed the right people. We have now a total of 4 qualified chartered accountants for Polokwane, which means that both the chief financial officer, the deputy chief financial officer, and managers are required as well to have the highest qualification in accounting. But we have also put systems in place that says that you do not pay anybody upfront unless you've got a security that of the same value of that. So the money of government must always be secured. It's a public money which must be secured. So we are confident that with the systems that we've got in place, the people that we have, we've got quite a number of people that, like I said, they've qualified at the highest level. The municipality is growing, not only in terms of the inwards looking part, but also in terms of developments that are happening across the city. Probably the largest number of construction that is happening, whether it's us making land available for the private sector. We've got the Green Arc. There are more than 400 people that have been employed to the land that belong to the municipality that we use. We use it as a stimulant to bring investment, both domestic, foreign, but also the public sector investment. That is why you've got also the academic hospital that has been built. You've got an international hotel that have started building in Polokwane. You've got a whole lot of construction that is happening in Polokwane.
Yeah, the last time I was there, I saw a lot of new residential complexes that I've not seen before. So, which has always been an issue of interest, because if I'm not mistaken, and I think the Statistician General indicated this to me the last time I interviewed him, was most people who come to Johannesburg for work are from Limpopo.
Yes.
A lot of people who come to Gauteng for work, which then raises the question of what is the plan then, as suppose in this case Polokwane, to try and retain the skills even in the city? Because I mean, when you speak to people who are from Polokwane, Limpopo, they'll tell you, I would like to work around the city of Polokwane or at home, but I'm waiting for the city to be developed better so that I know that I can go to gym, I can live in a good place. What's being done to try and get the people to stay? Because then you are going to benefit as a municipality as well, because the skills are retained.
We've got a Smart City Vision 2030 that outline areas of competitive advantage for Polokwane to grow. We have lined up catalytic projects, like some of them I've spoken about, but also to a plan to industrialize around our airport, logistics, special economic development zone. We've got plans that have already, if you look at Polokwane today, you see cranes all over. That to show you that those catalytic projects that we have identified are actually yielding results. In the public sector, I've already mentioned some, but we've also made available for a medical school to be built in Polokwane. 2 days ago, I just had a meeting with the Vice Chancellor both the outgoing and the incoming Vice Chancellor of the University of Limpopo, where we have agreed that on the 29th of this month, we will then have a special council resolution on the land be made available for the construction to start. We have also made land available for Tshwane University of Technology to build a new campus on the R37. But over and above that, we've got the private sector interest, where we said we are using the available land to bring them in. But because of the catalytic projects and industrialization program that we have, plans that we have, and construction that have started, you've already also seen a whole lot of other developments. You know, in the private sector, the first psychiatric private hospital is being built on our land. We're leasing land, out. And there's a lot of people now who are coming back. Even in our own municipalities, we have some of the senior officials from the metros here that have actually joined, us. When I met the executive mayor of Tshwane, he was accusing me of poaching some of the people that have been working there. So we've got a plan, and we believe we're executing it. If you look at the report of the property in the property market by CF, indicate that a property worth 5 million in Polokwane about 5-10 years ago is now worth 15 million. So there is a growth of 150% in property value, and value of assets, and particularly properties, is a good indicator for progress of that particular city in terms of growing the economy. So we believe that all our people who are here in Gauteng, of course, they will continue to come to the economic hub of the country, but quite a number of them are going back home. We've got people who are from metros that, because of our grading, which we have improved from grade 5 to grade 6. Now, even in terms of the remuneration, we are now on par, particularly the senior level, senior management level, to be able to attract some of the officials to come back and work for our municipality as well. So we are happy with the growth. If you look at the most beautiful houses that you can think of, even in rural areas, you find them in Limpopo, particularly Polokwane. You look at villages like Nobody and Muleji and Makanyi, those areas. Mama Hule, you find now the most luxurious houses even in the villages, because we have expanded tarred roads. We have since 2021 built new 66 kilometers of roads, also going into rural areas. We have refurbished or resurfaced about 10 kilometers of roads within the city, your Church Street, your Nelson Mandela, and many other streets, Tabumbeki. And so we are working very hard, even to resolve some of our challenges, including the water challenge that we have. There are projects that are on now. About 1.4 billion has been invested to deal with the water problem. And we've got also an agreement with DPSA to deal with the wastewater treatment plants around the city. So we believe that we are on the path of growth.
All right.
And I think everybody, our residents, can see that Polokwane is much more stable, and it is on the rise, of course.
All right, John Mpe, Executive Mayor of Polokwane, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you very much, Clement.
And thanks to you for watching the Thursday edition of Face the Nation. We'll be back with you on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Have a good evening. Cheers.